Hey there, internets. This is Kyle coming to you once again with a edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. Today, let's talk about the response I got from ClickFunnels customer support about my questions on how you set up a freaking order page and what the options are that I can change, etc., etc. My complaints that I had yesterday. As I mentioned previously, they do a good job of responding quickly, even on today, which is a Sunday. So I appreciate that they've got like 24/7 support people working. I'm sure in the Philippines or wherever they're at. And because it's, at least good to get a response, even though the response is not that great, as I'll share here in a minute. But hey, I hope you're all doing well. Overall, I'm feeling quite a bit better today overall, I think. I'm not sure I'm quite back to 100%, but maybe 90, 95%. Getting pretty close. I need to take my vitamins. Damn it. Okay. Side note to self. Even got out working outside today a little bit. I had to clean up some freaking leaves because I'm not sure where you live, but where I live, lots of big trees, which I like because I like having scenery and not just living in some, house farm with 18,000 houses that look the exact same, and that's all you can see for miles. So I have a little bit more to look at in my neighborhood with the scenery, which I enjoy, but the downside is you got to deal with leaves falling in the fall/winter. And I've got some big trees around my house, so I get big leaves, lots of leaves. And it's, just a pain to deal with them, rake them, bag them, all that fun stuff. So did a little bit of that today. Did not nearly get all of them done because I just don't like to do that. And so I leave a bunch of them sitting in my yard, which my neighbors probably don't like, but I don't really give a shit. So, they'll stay there until I feel like putting more in a bag and putting them in the garbage or wherever I'm going to put them. In any case, today as I was driving around with the kids, just trying to get some time outside the house, get a little fresh air in the old lungs, I was listening to some Alex Hormozy, The Game podcast, which has been a while. I've been on bit of a binge, I guess you could say, with Russell Brunson's podcasts. Went through all of the original Marketing Your Car podcasts. It's about, 300 or so episodes of that one. And then I've been making my way through the Marketing Secrets podcast, which there's probably like 8,000 episodes of that one, but I don't know, I'm probably 250 episodes in or something like that. So I'm still 4 years or so behind in the timeline of events of ClickFunnels, but it's still good information, so I'm trying to keep up with that. But I switched over to Alex Hormozy because I was driving in a place that didn't have any signal, so that was Alex Hormozy. I had previously downloaded some episodes, so I just went back and listened to the ones I had downloaded. And I really like that dude a lot. He was really the first one I listened to, binged listened to, I guess, his whole podcast series. And read his book initially in my whole business, entrepreneurship, binge, whatever, research. And he's definitely somebody I guess I can relate to even a bit more than Russell Brunson, just because Alex Hormozy, even though I wouldn't say I'm like him per se, but I think we think similarly. And I don't know, minor similarity in the fact that he went to school, he didn't get a PhD, but I think he maybe got a master's degree or something and went to get a job working for a big consulting firm in a similar line of work that I do, and worked that for I don't know a year or two, and decided he hated that, and that's when he started his whole entrepreneurial thing. And I could relate to a lot of the backstory there of the frustrations he was feeling, etc. Of course, he did it at a much younger age than what I'm digging into all this, but nevertheless, it was similar kind of mindset, I guess, going into his journey that I'm having in my own journey, and just his way of, I think, thinking about things from a more logical, rational perspective, as opposed to Russell Brunson, who's certainly is one to, I guess, key into people's emotions a bit more. I mean, they're both very good at what they do. I mean, I guess you could argue Russell Brunson's a little bit more slightly ahead of where Alex Hormozi is in terms of the businesses that they've run, but Russell Brunson has been doing it for longer than Alex Hormozi has. So I'm sure age to age, they're probably about the same. But they just have different styles, different ways they approach the game, more or less. And I respect both of them, but again, I can personally relate to Alex Hormozi's style a little bit more. So anyway, he was talking about people who, kind of like to brag about how they're going to outwork their competition, or, that they feel they're going to be successful because they work the hardest or whatever. And he's like, that's pretty much bullshit, because nobody can say they can outwork anybody else, because that's just not something, one, you can really measure against. I mean, unless you're literally saying, well, I'm going to work 24 hours in a day and I'm not going to sleep at all. Sure, but I mean, obviously that's completely unhealthy, and you'll probably die in a matter of weeks doing that. So that doesn't really make sense. And success, again, is not even really built on working the hardest. It's not the whole thing of work smarter, not harder, but there's a little bit of truth in that, in just the sense of you need to understand where you can maximize your leverage in whatever you're doing, and learning how to spend your time on things where you have the most value to contribute in your business. And of course Alex, recognizes, hey, if you're just starting out as a new entrepreneur, I mean, you're gonna have to do everything. So you're doing a lot of menial crap that, in a perfect world, you could just have the money to go hire somebody to do that thing for $10 or $15 an hour. But at least initially, for some period of time, maybe you don't have the money, or you just don't want to spend that money, because it's important, at least, that you understand the processes you want to implement in your business, and you do those processes yourself before then you hand them over to somebody else who's coming to you brand new and fresh. Because it's not like you're going to go out there and find somebody to pay them $15 an hour and expect them to come up with the process that you want them to do, even if it's a menial thing. Like, hey, I want to go hire somebody to just manage my social media platforms or whatever. And you would think oh, that's a low paying gig, and maybe you can find somebody in the Philippines and pay them $350 or something an hour to do that. But if you don't have anything to give them in terms of a plan, what your expectations are, then they're not going to do anything, because you're not paying them enough money to make up the plan for you and strategize about what's the right strategy here for what you want to do with the social media stuff. You need to already have built up the processes and the plans for what you want to do, and then you can go hire those low wage people to just go and execute whatever you've done. So again, point being, initially you're probably doing a bunch of those low level tasks because you need to figure out what they should be, what they have to be going forward. But as you scale, the first thing you try to do is think about, okay, of all the stuff I'm spending my time doing, what are those low-level things? And then how can I farm those out to, whether it's hire somebody in your company or get a contractor to do that, or hire a business to do that part, whatever it is, so that you can focus your time on the highest value activities, which could be whatever. If you're fulfilling on like coaching or something, focusing on your coaching, or if you're, you're probably doing sales and marketing, and so all that stuff in terms of generating income for your business is critically important. So you probably predominantly need to focus on that in the early stages. So anyway, there's a lot more to that, but Alex is just kind of a no BS sort of dude, and is one to kind of cut a lot of the bullshit and emotion out of the way certain people talk about these types of things in the entrepreneurial world, and break it down to just be like, hey, this is how it is, and either you will choose to do it like this, or you will not, and you will probably fail. And so you can choose to disagree, that's your prerogative, but in doing so, you will probably not be successful. So take it or leave it. So anyway, that was a good refresher of some of his material and perspective. And I'll probably listen to a bit more of his podcasts before jumping back over to Russell Brunson's. All right, so let's talk about the ClickFunnels story, since somewhat humorous and also frustrating, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But in any case, so as you recall from yesterday, for the three of you that are following along at home, so I was in trouble setting up my order page and had some questions about how I kind of set up some of the things. And so I'll go through it. It doesn't really matter exactly what I was talking about, but just so you can understand the response. So the first one is just, how do I delete a product that I created and no longer need? So again, in ClickFunnels 2.0, you create these like master products lists, and then on your funnel, you when you have an order form, I guess, when you have an order form on a funnel, you then like attach which products you want to show up in that order form, right? But in that master product list, it doesn't just give you the option to delete a product. So there was like something random I was just messing around with, and I just didn't want it there anymore because it was just kind of a dummy product thing. I was just playing around with some of the settings to learn. I just wanted to delete it. So I said, how do I delete it? Answer: the option to delete a product has not been implemented. Perfect. It says you can toggle the visible option off, but all that does is something about like it doesn't show up in your online store or something, which just that's anyway. That's not a huge deal, but it's just an annoyance. And like, why? It seems like a relatively basic thing if you're coding up something, that if you're able to create an item, you should also just be able to delete the thing if you don't want it there anymore. Like, I don't see what the problem is of deleting it. I mean, I could understand like if that product were already associated with some other funnels, one or many funnels, then yeah, maybe it would screw up the code if you like deleted that product and then the funnel was looking for it, and that could throw some errors. But quick thing, you just make a condition that you can't delete the product until you have already disconnected it or deleted it from all the funnels that it was used on. And that's something they already like show you. They show you that, hey, this product is in this X funnel. And so all they would have to code up is something that's saying, yes, you can delete this, but only if it's not connected to something else. It shouldn't be that hard, but whatever. Why do I not have access to the shipping settings? It's kind of funny. They have these, kind of dumb help YouTube articles or videos or whatnot that I mentioned but talked about yesterday, and they have one on setting up shipping costs. I said, why don't I have it? But on my account, it says coming soon. Don't have access. It's like grayed out. You can't access that. Answer to that: physical products have not yet been implemented, but you can use Zapier to connect ShipStation or any other alternative. I don't know what those are, but they're other softwares that you have to pay more money for. Here's an article for how to collect or how to connect your ClickFunnels 2.0 account to those things, whatever they are. And again, it's like, why do you even talk about that as a feature? Why do you have help articles explaining how to use that feature if it's not actually something anybody can use? Like, just leave it off there. Just don't even mention it as a thing, or say that, hey, some future phase 2 of this software that we're giving you will have functionality for this, that, and whatever. But okay, whatever. I had a problem with I couldn't remove a product that I added to a funnel page. They said something about, try to clear your cache, your browser cache. Did that. That doesn't do anything. It was really kind of bizarre what was going on, but my workaround was I had to clone the page and then reattach products to it. And so I just did not attach the one that I couldn't delete off the other one anyway. It was just kind of another one of those weird workaround type of things. Shouldn't be that way, but I guess that works fine for what it is. And asked about customizing the checkout element. It's got this 3-step process, like predefined what those are, what the form elements are, the exact positioning of all of them, etc. As can I customize that in some way? Answer: no. There's no way to customize the order of the elements within the checkout element. And you can only choose the number of steps and the visibility of the elements in each step, which I already knew. And I kind of showed that yesterday. So, that's just kind of like an odd thing. I guess they did it to make it easier on the coders, but with all the other customization things they built in here, it doesn't seem like that would be too much of an extra thing for them to put in, given every other piece of things I've been working on. You can customize it, but just not that element. Whatever. And yeah, I also asked about how do I add that checkbox. People have to check a box saying like, yes, I understand this is a membership program, and after my free 30-day period, I'm going to get charged $47 for this membership. Answer: can't do that. Because again, you can't customize that checkout element, so I can't insert anything like above that submit button that would say that, have that information and have the checkbox that they have to click. You can't put that in there. So he said you can add an element underneath the checkout box that, I don't know, would be some custom element that you set to be a required field, which would prevent them from hitting the checkout box before they have to do something like type that they agree or something in that box. It's not even just a check box. It's like a field box. And I haven't even played around with that yet, but again, you can set that as a required field so that they still have to fill that out. So therefore, yes, technically they would have to recognize that, okay, yeah, I see that this is a membership thing before they can hit submit. But it's kind of dumb. Why? Like, that would be so... If I were just scrolling through that page and filling out my information, I see a big checkout box or submit box or whatever. I click on the box and like, why is it not working? And it's like, I go back to make sure I filled in all the fields, above, as you normally do. You're like, I filled out all the freaking fields. Like, where's the freaking deal? And I could just imagine somebody getting so freaking frustrated, because I know I would. And then like finally realizing that, like what the hell, the box you wanted me to fill in is actually underneath the checkout box? Like, that is so stupid. Why would you do that? Well, sorry, customer. I have to do that because I can't. That's the only way I can do it in this thing. So it seems kind of dumb. And again, the main thing about all this is that, again, I don't feel like I'm trying to do a lot more than what Russell Brunson tells us to do, which is model his own things, because he's the expert and he has got a team of people doing this. And so I'm modeling one of their funnels that I'm like 90% sure they built in ClickFunnels 2.0. I mean, maybe they didn't, I guess. Maybe this is like a ClickFunnels 1.0 funnel that looks very much like a 2.0 funnel. But since I never really used 1.0, I can't say exactly what all the options were in there. So, yeah, just thought that was funny and interesting. But in any case, that's my update for today. Just been busy with the family. I haven't honestly made a lot of progress in updating that funnel and getting closer to kind of getting it live, so to speak. And I do know one other thing, and listen to Alex Hormozy, that I kind of gave me a little bit more motivation in terms of how I'm going to map out my whole social media strategy for my business. Is, I mean, this is, I guess, kind of what I was originally thinking, but then I've had 1,000 other ideas since then. But Alex Hormozy, what does he do? He has a podcast. He records it at his computer, and so he's getting video of him recording his podcast. So he posts it on YouTube, and he has a podcast, right? And then from that, I know he's got like a team of people that basically take those like more long form content, probably 15 or 20 minutes typically, and they just cut that up, pull quotes out of it, whatever, to come up with graphics or shorts or other little things. And like other guys do that. Like Gary Vee talks about, that's kind of how he does his stuff. Just record longer form content and then have a team, cut that up into smaller things that they can drip out over a longer period of time. So that kind of got me motivated also to go back to thinking about, just setting up a podcast and again, duplicating it on YouTube, maybe having some things that are unique to the podcast or some things that are unique to the YouTube channel, but more or less kind of having the same stuff put out on both platforms and kind of go from there. I don't know. So that was one other thing I thought about today. So in any case, got to get to bed now. New week starting tomorrow. Back to the grind. So hope you're all doing well. Keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.